So our name is Salvador and Miguel.
We're affirmative, so we think that school districts should be regulating cyberbullying of their students on and off campus, and not just during school hours.
My name is Brian Rosas. This is Jordan Shaleth, and we are the against. We are against that schools should be allowed to intervene in our social media in the name of cyberbullying.
Point 1. According to California Department of Education webpage, it states that schools are responsible for creating safe environments for all students. They must work to prevent bullying, and they must respond to it when it happens. California Education Code Section 234 states that the policy of California is to ensure all local education agencies continue their work to reduce harassment, violence, and intimidation and bullying. It is further the policy of the state to improve pupil safety at schools and connections between pupils and supportive adults, schools, and communities.
And our point number 2 is that there are many worldwide cases that involves an individual being harassed, threatened, or embarrassed on the internet. Although there are cases where traditional bullying takes place, cyberbullying shows new components such as new social implications, psychological implications, and new environments that are free from traditional limitations. These components seem to have a bigger impact than traditional bullying. In short, cyberbullying is bullying. So, and our point number 3 is, although the First Amendment grants an individual the freedom of speech, press, religion, etc., the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that the government sometimes may be allowed to limit speech. For example, the government may limit or ban libel, the communication of false statements about a person that may injure his or her reputation, obscenity, fighting words, and words that represent a clear and present danger of inciting violence.
So our first point as the against would be that it is unconstitutional to allow schools to trespass in our social media. Because if you think about it, social media is kind of like our home on the internet. And I don't know about you, but I would not allow any school advisor or some school person to go and step into my social media to see things that I might not want them to see. Besides that, there is also our second point, that is that social media controlled by a school is giving the school even more power. Every day the United States is starting to look a lot more like a communist state because of these subtle changes into a overwhelmingly powerful government and the people who are trying to stand united against something that they themselves created.
Yeah, and then our third point was that if schools would be like if schools were to regulate stuff like cyberbullying, why couldn't they maybe regulate other issues like, for example, underage drinking, drug use, stuff like that, which, in my opinion, are issues that are even as worse nowadays or more bad, in other words, than cyberbullying.
Well, Brian, you said that it's unconstitutional to ban social media, but I mean, every day is like, every generation we develop like new laws and new like ways to interpret things, and like I think that with technology, I mean, every day we're growing, so I think that as we grow and develop these new ways of communicating, I think we should like limit the things that we do, because yeah, I mean, you can be like doing whatever you want on your own time, but you can't be like interfering with someone else's life. And also, like, in the California Education Code, it's basically saying that schools should be doing something about it. And I'll read it. A pupil shall not be suspended from school or be recommended for expulsion unless the superintendent of the school district or the principal of the school in which the pupil is enrolled determines that the pupil has committed an act as defined pursuant of any subdivisions, A through R. And R says that, S says that a pupil shall not be suspended or expelled for any acts enumerated in this section unless the act is related to a school activity or school attendance. So therefore, you're attending school, so that means that it still applies to you.
Alright, so our first rebut about the points that he has stated are against the point that he said about the school code. So if we begin off by starting to say bullying in general, we can't exactly assume that it's just bullying, because bullying happens on school grounds, and the bullying that happens on school grounds can be regulated because it's in a government location. You can't exactly do that in somewhere that it isn't under the control of the government. And to sum up this point, bullying and cyberbullying are two completely different things. One takes place off of school grounds. One of them is one takes place on school grounds, while the other takes place in a social world. So, despite this being in effect, you can't exactly say that something that happens out of school grounds can apply to something that was originally stated to be for something that happened on school grounds. Jordan, do you have anything to say?
No, you basically summed up what I was about to say.
So you're saying that there's a difference between bullying and cyberbullying?
Yes.
So was there anyone out here that wanted to pose a question to either side of the participants here? Okay, he's there.
Okay, it's for Brian and Jordan. So what you're saying is that, let's say someone was using their social media during school, and they were saying that they were going to fight somebody during school. So you're saying that the school couldn't intervene, and prevent it from happening, because that's their privacy?
No, I'm not saying that at all. If you heard the statement about the actual thing that we're debating about, it should school... Okay, I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying that should school interfere in social media on cyberbullying that's happening out of school grounds? And if you're stating something like that, it doesn't necessarily apply here.
What if they did it prior to school, but outside of school, saying it was going to happen at school?
It was going to happen at school?
Yeah, and they say they were going to fight somebody, but they did it from their house or somewhere outside of school.
So what you're saying is that they're bullying them, but they're before school?
Yes, they're doing it before school, but they're saying they're going to act on it during school.
Well, that doesn't necessarily apply, because all he's saying is going to do something.
Anybody else have a comment or question for either side here? Got one here.
Screw you guys. Bullying is bullying, no matter what. They're hurting someone mentally, so I don't see the difference between them. The question is that why do you feel that it's the same? I don't understand why you feel that way.
Feeling what is this?
Cyberbullying and bullying, why do you feel that it's the same?
Because it's bullying.
I mean, it's not the same, sorry. Like you said that if there's a difference between them, but I don't think there is a difference between them at all.
Well, one of them takes place on social media, the other one takes place off of, on school grounds.
Yes, but you're still hurting somebody mentally.
But that's not the argument. Thank you for stating your points. I actually really am for...
Hey, thank you for, thank you.
Yes.
So I think you were just clarifying, you're advocating that the school itself should not be reaching out beyond the boundaries of the school to enforce against cyberbullying, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Does that make sense, Delilah? Maybe that thesis wasn't...
Yeah, we can clear about it.
Okay. All right, let's give him a hand.